Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome back to our off-grid homestead in North Idaho. We are building a homestead from scratch on our property up here near the Canadian border. If you're new here, consider subscribing. We're sharing the whole adventure. This is an apartment above our garage that we're currently in the process of building. I'm standing on the shed roof above the garage. In our previous video, we framed all of this in, got it all sheathed. And now today, we want to get this thing actually roofed because as you can see, man, winter is here. We've got blue skies and rainbows today, but that doesn't mean it's always gonna be like this, right? We're gonna have feet and feet and feet of snow here. So we gotta make sure we get this guy roofed in. Morning, Sally. So if you're wondering why we have a creepy horror movie doll here on our property, that's because it is a little bit of a joke between some of my longtime subscribers and myself, right? They used to think that I really wasn't concerned about safety. So we have our own personal safety inspecting officer here. Her name is Safety Sally. And so she makes sure that we are doing everything super safe and that we will not get hurt, because we have a safety inspector here on every job that we do. Before we can actually get to roofing, I think we're gonna need to trim the branches off of this tree right here. Look at that, we don't want that branch up there messing around with us while we're working. That won't be safe. So we're gonna go ahead and trim up these branches some here. Gotta go find the saw though. Go to self, clean your living room. Do the things you don't wanna do. Fold that week old pile of clothes. Go to self, get some exercise. You fat and you have to try, but as far as I can tell, that's how life goes. And note to self, don't let yourself worry quite as much. It'll end up fine enough. It always has up until now. Something else, you should think of other people a little more. You should have thought of that before, because of everything you've written down. This is the first note that you wrote for someone else. I know that looked like a regular old electric chainsaw plugged into the grid. It is a regular old electric chainsaw, but it's not plugged into the grid, guys. We are completely off grid here. This is actually plugged in with this long extension cord right here to our solar system. So we are cutting limbs by the power of the sun. If you want to see like our whole solar system and like what all components and all that kind of stuff we use, there are links down in the description of the video. You can go ahead and check it out. But now we can get to the roof. So it looks like we're having time-lapse troubles again, guys. I don't know why. It's frustrating, but I just put up all of that cool underlayment up there. Filmed it all for you. Now it's gone. This guy's right here is our drip edge. I need your guys' tips on this one. Look at the drip edge here. When I peeled the plastic off, it left this sticky residue behind all the way down all of the drip edges. So now I got to try to figure out how to get that sticky residue off, because you know they're covered in this to help them prevent them from getting scratched in shipping, but now they're covered in like tape residue from that, which didn't happen before. It happened this time. Maybe I thought maybe because they were cold, they were out in the garage and I was peeling it off out there and it was staying behind, so I brought them inside, warmed them up, same thing. But I'm hoping that WD-40 and a paper towel will take it off. The WD-40 trick did work. As you can see there, no sticky residue, at least on the front. On the top here, there's still some, but that's gonna be covered up by the roof anyway, so I just worried about the front. It was kind of a pain, kind of disappointing, you know, that they would, I don't know, man, put that plastic on there. It's intended to come off. Do you think that people want to always be scrubbing that stuff off? I don't think so. All right, let's get the drip edge on all along there. Oh, don't let yourself worry quite as much. It'll end up fine enough. It always has up until now. Something else, you should think of other people a little more. You should have thought of that before, because of everything you've written down. This is the first note that you wrote for someone else. Note to self. I don't know how long I'll have to keep reminding myself to be who I want to be and not somebody else. Just
just thought by now I'd figure out the who and how I wanna be.
You know what every high school woodshop teacher tells his students? Tells them, measure twice, cut once. I didn't listen. We're short, about 2 inches. Yep, it's lame. There's a piece of trim that's going to it's gonna come down this fascia here, and it's gonna come up and overlap to on top. Problem is I don't know if it's gonna be big enough to cover up that mistake, or if I'm gonna have to order a new piece, or what. I don't know, tell me what you think. What would you do about that? 2 inches short. Yeah, it's lame. It's the last piece of metal too. It was going so smoothly, man. Check it out from back here. Looks great. All the screws aren't in yet. I only have the bottom ones in. But look at that. Dude, that looks so cool. Except for that little bit right there. But I guess that's the way it goes, man. Listen to your woodshop teacher, guys. Measure twice, cut once. I'm gonna jump up there, put in the top screws, and we'll see what we gotta do about that one. I put it on there, screwed it down, even though it's short. And I figure it'll offer some protection until at least we can get it replaced or get that piece of trim up there. I didn't order that trim because I wasn't sure about the size it was going to need, like where the actual ribs were going to stop at. And so now that I know where the rib's going to stop at, we can order the trim because it comes in a couple of different sizes. And hopefully we can get a size that'll just cover that up. We'll see though.
Hear the commotion, and that's okay, 'cause we're in motion. I can feel the sway. There's nothing to fear, my friend. Oh no, it's the natural rattle. And the ground is shaking.
Hey. Ask him if he wants a snack. Later, Moose. We'll go ahead and get in this piece of trim on there, but I stopped right here because of this mistake, right here. This problem, my lack of measuring twice. So it looks like we're about 2 1/4 inches short, but we can go out right there to 2 1/2 and we'd be safe. Check out that piece of trim right there that I want. That's the one we were gonna get anyway. And it is 2 1/2 inches plus another 7/8 plus a little bit more. So it's probably right at 3 inches, which is going to cover up my problem. Just barely though. So that'll be good. Feel a little bit better about that, guys. I've deliberated for quite a while over that last piece, right, that I cut too short. And I checked with Fabro, watched some videos on it, and actually it's gonna be fine, or at least it should be if my measurements are right after I messed up the measurements. But that gable trim piece should cover it up just fine. So we're gonna hold off on that. We'll order that in a couple of days when the supply place opens back up. It is Thanksgiving weekend right now. And so we're gonna go ahead and finish up the trim up here. We've got this trim that goes up along the house. I forget what it's called, but we're putting this in right here. We've got these guys that go underneath it. Check these out. So these guys right here, these are actually the opposite of the ones that we put underneath the eave right here. So they'll go up underneath there and block any water or critters from being able to crawl up underneath there. Put those guys in, screw it down. Oh, it's going good. And so the reason we have this piece on and not that piece, which seems kind of weird, right, is because there was a problem actually with the roof and I had to take one of the panels off. Let me show you what happened there. Notice this right here, this bump up right there. That's because there was a nail sticking up from the sheathing that I didn't notice when I went back over it. And it was sticking up, so I put the panel on. Then when I walked back and forth on the panel, that became totally evident. And it was actually holding the sheathing up right around there, maybe 1/8 of an inch or so. And so eventually it may have actually worn through the roofing. So what I do is take that panel off, pound that nail all the way down, and then put the panel back on. So there's a little dent there, but I mean, you'll never notice that. So we got that fixed. That's why this piece of trim right here is off. Now we can finish it up.
In the thunder roars, I wouldn't worry. It's just a storm. I just let my body pause to the natural rattle. So unwind the don't unravel. We can't help but be a little fragile through the clouds.
We got all of this trim, this back trim, whatever it's called, up. And then we've got this trim here that's gonna go over this last little bit here and close up the back side of the this fascia and the top of the roof here. And so we just lined it up there, put a couple marks in. We're gonna cut it.
Hear the rocket all day and night. The world is noisy, and that's alright. Every sound is just a piece of the natural rattle. So unwind and don't unravel.
Finally, guys, check it out. It's done. Bam, look at that. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful from back here, right? I mean, for the guy that just finished the work and climbed down off of the roof, it could be better. But to the average person that pulls up in the driveway, it looks perfect, man. I mean, look at that. Do you see anything wrong with it? Nope, not from the 20-foot test. But yeah, I mean, it's got a little bit of a wave in some spots. Let me see if I can show you here. You probably can't even see it, but right there, in between this rib and this rib and this rib, there's a little bit, it kind of goes up and down. That trim that goes against the house, and then over the roof, there are some spots in it that have a little bit of a wave in it. But you got to be standing like this close and really like looking at it to be like, I wonder how that roof is. Let's look at that. See, you can't find any problems with it, right? But who's going to do that? Nobody, right? They're just going to pull up. They're going to lay on and be like, hey, that looks cool, man. But the most important part is it keeps the water out of the garage. Keeps it safe, keeps it dry. That's the whole purpose of the roof, right? Looking cool is just a secondary little piece of it. So here's the underneath part right there. We just have to wait for the trim, the gable end trim pieces to come, and then we can totally finish this front part of the roof. If you'd like to see what else is going on here on our homestead, there is a video right over there you can go ahead and check out. Otherwise, I hope you have a really great day. Keep smiling, and I will see you over in that video in just a second.